Today we're joined by Joella from MedEssist. Joella, thanks so much for joining me on this interview.
No problem. Happy to be here.
I'd love to just learn a little bit more about you and your background. I guess maybe talk to me about MedEssist, how you started it, that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. I am a Torontonian for the most part, and I was in a payment startup previously, but I joined Michael Doe, who's both my co-founder and pharmacist here in Toronto, and originally started with a patient-facing app, like most healthcare providers, I think, but then slowly graduated to understanding what are the niches that only pharmacists know and only pharmacists can solve. Today, we've 10x that. We work with over 600 pharmacies across Canada and the US, as well as digital health companies, pharmaceutical companies, and it's been an exciting journey, to be honest. We're starting to see real change, and so I'm really grateful to be here. Prior to this, though, I was in the payments background, and so another clunky industry, lots of regulation, lots of red tape. So it doesn't feel that far-fetched, and it just feels like we're onto something and we're building something meaningful. So I think that answer will change as we progress through this year.
Sounds like you like solving tough challenges.
Probably easy to say that. Yep.
And tell me a little bit more about your team. I know we've known each other for I think a little bit more than a year now, but
Yep.
maybe tell me about your team when we first got introduced and how it's grown and what it looks like today.
I think we were pretty small when we first got introduced to Ven. When I say small, I'm talking like 7 to 9-ish people, and now we're about 20, 21-ish. But what's remarkable about our team is we're all over the place. We're a hybrid company, so our main office is in Toronto with our second office in Calgary. However, we've also got team members in Portugal, Tanzania, all across Canada, and that was kind of why we gravitated to a company and product like Ven in the first place. It just had a lot of remote capacity that we're looking for. So, not a very big team, but definitely a very agile one that moves fast, and we need to find products that can support us.
That's probably a good point to segue into then. I guess how did you hear about us and maybe what were some of the challenges you were facing at that time?
Yeah. Well, being a Canadian company, it is really hard to do business banking as a startup here in Canada for many, many reasons. There's a lot changing. There's a lot we're hoping to see change in the next couple of years. But, as again, a fast-moving startup, there's bills you need to pay, there's accounts that you need to transfer money from, there's vendors you're trying to pay. Most of your subscriptions for some of the best technology that you use is in USD. So quite a lot of challenges that don't exactly allow you to move fast. And came across Ven at a founder dinner that I was at in Calgary, and literally just heard about it from other founders who were discussing why they picked it over other solutions and how they were using it and why they were using it. And I really fell into just that. And the most amazing part was just being able to sign up online myself, like not needing to go through a crazy process, being able to do it entirely myself, not needing to walk into a physical location, cross verify, double verify, ask documents, get documents from my co founder. None of that. It was literally, I think it was up and running like within a week or something, or even less than that, if I can remember. And I just remember thinking, my God, how is this possible? Like, there's got to be some catch here. but there's never been a catch, and it's been a really good product to use.
Awesome. And are there specific products event that you tend to use more than others?
Probably. Being a company that has US based investors and has raised US funding, we wanted to take advantage of the FX rates. We use the investing tools on Ven. We use the credit cards on Ven, both physical and virtual. We're a company that does a lot of conferences, a lot of trips abroad to, we've done trips to Ireland, the US, the UK, if I'm not mistaken. And again, it's been super easy to kind of just launch a card for a colleague that lives across the world that's trying to pay a vendor or trying to work with a contractor or trying to pay bills or take in money as well. And it's just been really seamless. There's no other way to describe it. Like, banking in Canada is pretty hard. So just a night and day difference, being able to do things when you want them and how you want them. It's like a superpower.
And are conferences and traveling a big part of your team?
I would say There's some seasonality to it. We're in the digital health space and the pharmacy space. So there's a lot of pharmacy conferences in the summer and fall months. And because, again, we're a growing company, we're a scaling company that's sort of launching products in two different markets, it's beneficial to be able to be where your customers are and show up full force without feeling like you're having to front cash or be nervous about how you're going to pay bills. So having that access is really nice. There's a lot of funding programs for Canadian startups, and so again, being able to digitize your receipts, digitize, where your funds are flowing really fast is really helpful, especially when you have strict reporting protocols. So that's been really nice to have.
And do most people on your sales team, the ones that are traveling, do they have like a card assigned to them?
I would say pretty much, but it's not just our sales team. It's product managers who are trying to work with vendors or contractors, people looking to pay their own bills. Every team has, I would say, the capacity to be empowered and do their own tasks and manage their own department without me needing to oversee it or my co-founder needing to oversee it. So I wouldn't say that it's restricted to just our sales team. I think it's restricted to way more than that. I think it's our operations team. Our developers can pay their bills whenever they want. Our CSM pays her team whenever she wants. So it's not a one category product or a one team product, in my opinion.
Makes sense. And do you think companies like yours have a specific use case when it comes to banking or financial platform?
Mm, I would say paying vendors is probably one of the hardest parts because you're going to have to leave and go to a physical location, and unless you're part of one of the three or four top Canadian banks that even have that location, you're looking at paying a lot of fees and a lot of time lost in in-person meetings. I've had some very challenging experiences with banks that don't really understand how startups work, don't understand the difference between a venture backed startup versus a small business. And so that has been challenging. Whereas, if you've empowered your team to sort of manage their own money, manage their own financials, it's a very different world that you're playing in. You can move faster. It's not this thing that's a task to do, it's just done for you, it's out of the box.
And you mentioned a little bit of time saving. If you had to quantify the impact of Ben, how would you think about that?
Mm, there's two big areas that I would think about. The first one is obviously the FX rates that we're saving on and the GICs that we invest in because it's saved us a ton, especially in this economy with very high interest rates and an exchange rate that isn't the most friendliest right now and hasn't been for a while. And then the second would definitely be the accessible credit cards, just again because that's not even something I can do with my bank on a normal day. So so in terms of quantifying it, I would say it's probably saved us like maybe 100 hours a year. It's amazing.
Wow. Um, and as your team is growing and scaling, how do you see Vent keeping up?
I think it makes it really easy to add new cards really simply. I don't need to worry about someone being mailed a physical card if they, need to. I have a team member that just started on Monday last week, and on Wednesday I knew that I had to fly her somewhere, and she already has a Ven card as of Thursday of last week. So, she's sitting in front of me and can pay for stuff on her own, take a flight on her own, buy Wi-Fi on the airplane without needing to ask me about it. When you're fast moving and you're launching products very fast and you're adding customers very fast and you're growing at a capacity that's not normal, the rate of speed of the products that support you is tantamount, I guess, to keeping up with your growth. And so that's something that Ben's been able to do with us.
Awesome. Well, I guess that's sort of it for me on questions. I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me and share a little bit more about your experience. As always, if you have any product requests, feature feedback, that kind of stuff, I'd love to hear it.
Always. I know you'll take it seriously.
All right. Thanks so much for the time. Appreciate it.
Take care.